Good afternoon, this is Granny Fisher, and I just want to talk to you about some things that you probably need to do right now. We're about 3 weeks away from an election, and it's kind of a scary time for a lot of people because the election may be contested. In fact, all the major media outlets are saying that it will be contested. So there are some things we need to do right now to prepare for what may come after. If you like this channel, if you want to hear more about how to prepare for the next Great Depression, be sure to click the subscribe button, and when the little bell pops up, click that bell and click all, and YouTube will notify you whenever I post a new video. I'm trying to post every Monday afternoon, usually around 3 or 4 o'clock. Be sure and give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and comment. If you have some ideas along these lines, be sure to share your comments. We can all benefit from them. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is a two-parter. It's 2 different kinds of tests you need to use to determine your preparedness and what you need to do a little differently. The first thing is a community test. What kind of community do you have? And I'm not talking about where you live precisely. I'm talking about who you associate with. And this is especially important for women and the elderly, because in a situation without rule of law, women and the elderly become particularly vulnerable. And you need community. You need other people around you. You need people that you trust. And so I'm going to give you some ideas about how you can determine what your community is. Now, there are several different levels of people that we come in contact with. The first is strangers. You know, we see them. We're polite, but we don't associate with them. The second is casual acquaintances. These are people that look familiar to you, but you can't quite place them. Or maybe you've seen them at school or at work, but you really don't know them very well, and you may not remember their name. Then you have acquaintances, and these are people that you might chat with in the grocery store parking lot. You don't know a lot about them, but you know their name, and you see them occasionally. They might be the cashier at the store, or someone at your job, or someone in your class at school. These are people that you know, but you don't know well. Okay, then you have your friends and extended family. And these are people that you know and you trust and you can rely upon up to a certain point. When I say extended family, it'd be like your aunts and uncles and cousins, or maybe your grandchildren, or brother or sister you haven't seen in a long time. And your friends, people that you know, people that you trust, but only up to a point. And then you have your close friends and family. And these are the people that you could trust with your life. These are people that know a lot about you and you know a lot about them. And these are the ones you need to depend on. These are the ones that'll be a help in a crisis situation. And these you need to have close by. If you had a major emergency, if your house caught fire, or if something bad happened in the middle of the night, who would you call? And if you called that person, how long would it take them to get to your house? Now, these are people that you need to have close by. And if you're in a situation where you live in a city or an apartment, or you're someplace a long way from family and a long way from your close friends, you might consider moving. I know that after the 9/11 terror attack, a lot of people moved back home. They moved back to where their parents were and their grandparents. They moved back to the small town where they grew up and people knew them, because there's safety in that community. That's what I'm talking about when I say community. And if you're elderly, if you're a woman living by yourself, you need to look at getting closer to your community, getting closer to your close friends and your family. We may have some serious disruptions in the country, and that may happen between November 3rd and January 20th, so be ready for that. And one way you can do that is by making sure your community is there for you and you're there for them. If you don't have that kind of community, and if you don't have family members that you can count on, consider creating community. Think of some people that you think of as reliable, dependable, and trustworthy, and begin cultivating a relationship with them. Not so that you can use them to meet your needs, but because they're worth knowing. Okay, the second test is a needs test, and this is to determine what you need to take care of before the poop hits the fan. The first thing you can do is turn off your utilities for one day. Turn off your electricity, turn off your phone, turn off your natural gas or your propane, turn off your water if you're on city water. Turn off your utilities and see what you really need. Find out, what would I really be in a fix without? If you don't have electricity, does your pump to the well stop working? Then you might need to set up some kind of rain catchment system using rainwater off your roof. Things like that. Just turn off your utilities for one full day and see what you miss the most. And you can actually, for sanitary reasons, you can use your toilet. If there is any kind of water, even if there's not city water, if you have a well or a creek nearby or a rain catchment system, you can bring a 5-gallon bucket full of water into your bathroom and you can flush the toilet with that. So you could still use the toilet. You wouldn't have to dig a latrine or an outhouse or something. Okay, second, journal what you consume. What I mean by that is take a piece of paper and write down everything you consume today, everything you consume tomorrow, and do that for 1 week. This is not counting water, okay? But like if you make tea, if you make coffee, put down tea, put down coffee, put down ketchup, put down mayonnaise, put down bread, put down spaghetti, whatever it is that you use in one normal week, write it down, make a list of it. And that will tell you what you would normally eat. And yes, you can ration things in an emergency, but you want to start with a base level of what you would normally eat. And that tells you how much food you're going to need and what kinds of food you're going to need. You could also look at the things that you eat and drink and see if you could get something cheaper. If you really like a very expensive brand of hot tea, perhaps you could get the no-name generic brand from Dollar Tree or something. So look at getting cheaper things and just educate your palate to accept them, or drink water, or eat bread. Lower your standards for your food so that you can accumulate enough food to get you through any emergency. Okay, the third thing is don't wash clothes for 10 days and see what you run out of. If you don't wash your clothes for 10 days and, oh gee, I only had 3 pairs of socks, I'm used to washing them every day, then you need to buy some socks. I know we have ministered at homeless camps numerous times, and the thing they like the most for us to bring to them in the way of clothing is socks and gloves. So you also need to be thinking about the fact that we're headed into winter, and you may need some gloves. You may need some warmer socks. You may need some thermal underwear. You may need some wool blankets. last week I bought a queen size wool blanket, 100% wool, for $15 off of Craigslist. So there are a lot of things you can pick up on Craigslist, on swap boards, at Facebook. There are all kinds of things you can get cheap, but get them now before the election, because we're not, maybe nothing at all will happen after the election. Maybe one or the other of the candidates will be a clear winner. There will be a peaceful transition of power, and all will go well. But just in case, that's what prepping is all about, right? Preparing for the worst. You hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So get these things now. Take care of these things now. Prepare your community. Establish friendships if you don't already have them. Move close to family if you need to. But get it done now. Even if it means a disruption to your lifestyle, you don't want to get 3 or 4 months down the road and wish you'd done it. So do that now. And then check your needs. How many problems do you have with your utilities off? What kind of food do you eat and how much? And how long can you go without washing your clothes? Or what clothes do you run out of? Try and get these things taken care of, and be sure you've got good walking shoes, because there's no guarantee you can stay at your house. We'll talk about bug out bags in a future video, but especially be thinking about winter time. We've got winter coming on. It's nearly November, and things will get cold this winter. It's looking like a very cold winter. So make sure you prepare for that. And then prioritize. Determine which of these items would be life-threatening if you didn't have it. And make that number one. And then go down the list according to need. What's most important. But I would consider community to be at the top of the list, and everything else can fall in line from there. Now, normally at the end of a video, I say, this is Granny Fisher, I'll see you next time. But because of our developments in this country over the recent few months and the way people are very fearful, I want to tell you something a little different at the end of this video, and it may become my sign-off for all future videos. But remember that fear immobilizes you, and it makes you ineffective. You need to take action, even if it's something small. Take action today. Take action tomorrow. And don't be afraid. This is Granny Fisher. Don't be afraid. Bye-bye.